Then finally the tone shifts hard as we hit episode 47 and dive into the Goku Black storyline. Things start ramping up pretty fast. Back in the present, future Trunks escapes to the past after getting thrashed by Goku Black. In a heated moment, he lashes out at Goku, confusing him for the enemy. Goku, caught off guard, blocks his punch with ease. Proof that Trunks, while tough, isn't quite there yet. They decide to spar so the team can measure Trunks' power level compared to Black. Trunks powers up to Super Saiyan 2, and Goku knows that he might be stronger than Team Gohan during the Cell games. Interestingly, this mirrors something Vegeta once told Goku during the Buu Saga. And if you check some of the official material, like the Toyotaro manga guide, it's even suggested that Trunks' Super Saiyan 2 is stronger than Goku's Super Saiyan 3. In fact, Goku ends the match by using Super Saiyan God in the manga, putting Trunks down with a single blow. And that's no small feat, especially considering Super Saiyan 3 Goku back in the Buu Saga couldn't even face Beerus. In Dragon Ball Super, there's a sharp contrast between how Goku's powers are portrayed across the anime and the manga, particularly when comparing his fight with future Trunks and his early encounters with Goku Black. Let's start with Goku versus Trunks in the anime. Goku is clearly holding back. He takes on Trunks' Super Saiyan 2 with the suppressed Super Saiyan 3 and still overwhelms him without breaking a sweat. This version of Goku seems to have integrated some level of God tier power into his base and the Super Saiyan forms. There, Goku's strength scaling is more grounded, and his power increases feel more earned rather than gifted by unseen boosts. Interestingly, while the anime makes Trunks look a bit outclassed, the manga takes steps to elevate Trunks by having him fight Goku more seriously, suggesting that the two are more evenly matched than equally implied. Despite all this, even Trunks admits that Goku Black in his base form is more dangerous than Goku using Super Saiyan 3, which raises eyebrows when you realize Goku is barely even trying in his sparring match with Trunks. Now Goku Black is where things get really murky. In the anime, his power jumps exponentially just from his experience. He starts off strong, and after just a few bouts with Goku and Vegeta, he's on a completely different level. This version of Black uses Goku's God-trained body and rapidly adapts to his potential. No need for Zenkai boosts or elaborate training. He's just like a cheat code that updates itself every fight. The manga version, though, is much more methodical. There, Goku Black's power comes from traditional Saiyan biology. Since he's using a fresh Saiyan body, and Goku's at that, he hasn't hit his Zenkai cap yet. Black is able to milk multiple power boosts from damage and recovery, much like early era Goku and Vegeta. This takes cues from how Toriyama portrays Zenkai's post-Frieza saga. So in a way, manga Black is playing the long game while anime Black just hits the fast forward button. But let's talk strategy. Trunks mentions that Goku and Black were both holding back in their first real clash. That checks out, especially when you consider that Goku was analyzing his opponent more than trying to destroy him. Unfortunately, that gave Black the opening he needed to grow even more dangerous. In the manga, we get a totally different approach to Black's origin. Zamasu spies on Goku's fight with Hit using Godtu. This dream leads Zamasu to label Goku as the mortal who rivals the divine, kicking off his descendant into villainy. Meanwhile, the anime skips the passive observation and jumps straight into the confrontation. Goku actually fights Zamasu one-on-one and manhandles him using Super Saiyan 2. It's mentioned that when Goku transformed, his power jumped significantly, implying that he was testing Zamasu more than trying to kill him. Also, transformations in Super don't always mean what they seem. Goku often suppresses his output even after powering up. It's something that pops up in fights like Goku vs. Krillin, where the form doesn't match the actual strength being used. This adds another layer to his encounters. He might be in Super Saiyan 3, but he's really just stretching his legs. Later on, when they head to the future, Goku literally falls off Whis' staff mid-flight through dimensions, catches up to it, and lands back on it, suggesting he can move at speeds close to Whis' staff at least temporarily. While it's not a hard speed feat, it's still an impressive movement that shows how absurd things are getting. In the manga's first major future confrontation, Goku tries to bait Black by pretending to know everything about him, hoping Black slips up, and he does. Going back to the anime, the action escalates fast. Vegeta doesn't hesitate. He goes full Super Saiyan Blue against Goku Black immediately, but Black isn't impressed. In fact, just fighting Blue Vegeta in his base form is enough to push him into revealing his Super Saiyan Rose transformation, and when he does, Vegeta can barely keep up. Black calls him a decent appetizer and then proceeds to dismantle him. The real shocker is that even Goku struggles. Black takes on both Saiyans and dominates. The power climb is unlike anything else in Super at the time. There's a lot of confusion surrounding Goku Black's transformation, especially the ominous pink hue known as Super Saiyan Rose. Some official material frames it as the divine counterpart to Super Saiyan Blue, but a few guides and even Vegeta himself suggested that it's simply Black's version of Super Saiyan, modified due to his godly nature. Interestingly, if Black has access to something comparable to Blue or even higher, then why doesn't he just annihilate Goku and Vegeta with overwhelming force right away? Some fans argue he's holding back, and others think it's a pacing issue. Another angle is that he's operating within a Saiyan beyond God state, similar to what Goku displayed in Resurrection F, which could explain the absence of traditional Super Saiyan stages early in the anime. Still, the manga takes a more grounded route. There, Goku Black uses the standard Super Saiyan form and actually loses to Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta in their real first fight. But after getting healed by Zamasu, a luxury only immortals can offer, Black undergoes a dramatic power spike. Now, even without tapping into full divine forms, he can pressure Vegeta and Blue. This is one of the few times we start to see base and Super Saiyan tiers reaching into godlike territory in the manga, which contrasts with how the anime had sort of already crossed that bridge long ago. Back on Earth, or what's left of it in the future, Goku Black starts monologuing about Goku's body like it's a divine weapon, claiming his power never never stops climbing. This isn't just narcissism, it ties into how the time ring functions, as it allows Black to exist outside the effects of timeline alteration. Beerus even implies that one Hakai could erase any god across all versions, but considering how often Beerus plays fast and loose with rules, it might be an exaggeration. Or maybe he doesn't fully grasp the time ring's mechanics. When it comes to combat synergy, something cool pops up here. During one of their tag team assaults, Black and Zamasu fuse their energy into a joint attack. The show actually emphasizes that combining energy like this multiplies the power significantly. While it's not the only example in the franchise, Trio de Dink, a pretty standout moment happens not long after. Goku, bloody and battle-worn, suddenly flares up in rage and slaps Zamasu away using raw Super Saiyan Blue power. Even with the hole in his chest, it's undeniably epic. This is a rage-induced moment when Zamasu revealed that they killed Chi-Chi in the main timeline. Eventually, things spiral again. Black copies Goku's enraged energy and evolves his abilities further, forming that halo-shaped energy blade that he uses like a divine raffle. He blasts Goku away and leaves them all scrambling back to the past once again. After getting humiliated by Goku Black and Zamasu multiple times, Goku and Vegeta decide it's time to take this fight seriously. Vegeta steps into the hyperbolic time chamber, and what comes out is borderline terrifying. Not only does he train under intense conditions, but the sheer force of his base is enough to collapse the entire pocket dimension around him. Super Buu and Gotenks had to pull off concentrated energy blasts to poke a hole through the realm, but Vegeta simply powers up and the whole place crumbles. And yes, the chamber is massive, essentially Earth-sized, and with its own atmosphere. Simply destroying the door doesn't obliterate the space, it just seals it. Vegeta blowing it all away though, that's the next level. Meanwhile, Goku trains with a new purpose. The anime implies he gets a huge Zenkai boost after a rage-fueled battle, and on top of that, he begins mastering the Mafuba, a technique from all the way back in the original Dragon Ball. Roshi explains that using the Mafuba isn't just about knowing it. You have to be relatively close in power to your target or the ceiling won't work, and it might kill the user in the process. So no, Roshi doesn't think he can seal away someone Goku can't beat himself, and that logic applies universally, even outside the Dragon Ball multiverse. Back in the future, the third showdown begins. Goku Black is already 2 wins in and he's evolving. In the manga, Vegeta employs a tactical switch-up, alternating between Super Saiyan God and Blue mid-combat to conserve stamina. This is a refined version of Goku's fight strategy against Hit earlier in the series. In contrast, the anime goes for a raw emotion while Vegeta's fury boosts him enough to straight up dominate Black. The emotional power is something Black never considered. As a defined being, he never saw rage as a source of strength, but witnessing Vegeta's wrath ignites something in him. What follows is one of the most jaw-dropping transformations in the franchise. Black stabs his own hand and manifestates a massive energy scythe, tearing open an interdimensional rift that spawns near-endless copies of himself. Even Zamasu admits that this power goes beyond his comprehension. Official commentary has even described this version of Goku Black, the scythe-wielding and multi-dimensional, as possibly the most powerful non-fused character in the series at the time. His power dwarfs Goku's Kaioken x 10 Blue from the Universe 6 tournament, and that's backed up in a side arc where Goku and Hit have a rematch reinforcing that statement. In the anime, Trunks learns Mafuba through recording made by Piccolo and nearly succeeds in sealing Zamasu, which forces Black to fuse with him, giving rise to Fusion Zamasu. This version by the official anime staff is considered a cheat code, being boundless with growth potential and effective immortality. He conjures divine constructs, lightning storms, and spiritual weapons, forcing Goku and Vegeta to push themselves even harder than ever before. Trunks and Vegeta combine a joint attack that rivals Blue level power, while Goku uses Kaioken to amplify it even further. Together, they begin to challenge Zamasu's overwhelming force. At one point, Goku unleashes a Kamehameha so powerful it shatters his own body just to land it, proving that Fusion Zamasu can't be hurt. Zamasu eventually begins to destabilize, and his body mutates and stretches unnaturally as Goku escapes his grasp and kicks him away, even breaking his halo in the process. Behind the scenes, it was originally intended that 2 Blue level fighters in sync would be enough to overcome Fusion Zamasu. Trunks and Vegeta's tag team assault and Goku's Kaioken combo were visually representations of that plan, but as the arc progressed, the stakes were raised and Vegeta became necessary to take a stand. That in itself confirms just how far the protagonists had come, well beyond the limits we saw in the Universe 6 tournament, surpassing even a hypothetical Kaioken x 5 threshold. To understand just how far Goku and Vegeta had to push themselves during the Future Trunks arc, we need to break down the layers of power, fusion, and the divine escalation involved, especially against someone like Fused Zamasu. This isn't just your average villain. We're talking about an entity born from Goku Black and Zamasu, 2 beings already individually dangerous combined into one. Goku Black had already proven himself to be a match for Super Saiyan Blue Goku. It even evolved beyond that using his version of a divine Super Saiyan transformation. Now once fused with Zamasu, their powers didn't just add, it escalated dramatically. Some might argue that fusion simply doubled them, but that's underselling the insane growth potential of their merged form. According to the creators, Zamasu's power constantly evolved and he was literally adapting mid-battle, growing stronger as he took damage. When fused Zamasu appears, Goku and Vegeta seem totally outclassed. However, as the battle drags on, they begin to push back, possibly even surpassing their earlier limits. This has led to long-standing debates. Did Zamasu hold back at first, underestimating them, or did the Saiyans just grow faster than he expected? Whatever the case, things shift dramatically once Vegeta enters the fight. In the manga, the appearance of Vegeta was brief but devastating. Even before transforming, transforming, Vegeta in base casually slices Zamasu in two. Then after recovering with the Sensu, he unleashes Vegeta Blue, and that's where things truly escalate. V-Jump even confirms that Vegeta Blue's strength touched the realm as Beerus, at least in the manga. Considering how he wasn't shown tapping into full power blue, that leaves open the possibility that Vegeta was holding back for some deadliest strength. On the anime side, the pacing is more drawn out. Vegeta's clash with Zamasu feels more evenly matched, with Zamasu trying to brute force his way through growing unstable and flaring energy. Vegeta, however, isn't impressed. He mocks Zamasu's tantrum, standing firm until the fusion timer finally runs out. The most critical split between the manga and the anime happens at the climax. In the anime, Trunks becomes the one to end Zamasu's physical form using a spear sword infused with hope energy, splitting the godlike figure apart. But Zamasu's will doesn't die. He merges with the reality itself, turning into an abstract being known as Infinite Zamasu. He begins spreading throughout the timeline, existing outside physical form beyond comprehension. Even Beerus in a different timeline can sense this corruption. This Zamasu, now fused with the universe and perhaps the timeline itself, becomes a force that can't be beaten with strength alone. Goku reaches for the Zeno button, and in response, the Omni King wipes away the corrupted timeline entirely. A god-level clean slate. Now, here's where the manga version gets surreal. In that version, the erasure of the timeline is depicted through the disappearance of the time ring, an iconic symbol of temporal continuity. Goku later re-enters the blank space left behind, a void with no time, space, dimensions, or anything. And yet, he can walk, speak, and interact inside it. No air, no gravity, no time flow, yet Goku is still vibing in a void. That would imply his conscious or physical self transcended time-space boundaries, which technically requires speed that can't be quantified using standard physics. It's one thing to move faster than light, it's another thing to exist in a state where time has no meaning and still act with clarity and purpose. So while many brush off this arc as confusing or inconsistent, the power feats here are actually some of the wildest in the series. Zamasu was an evolving god, fusing with all of existence. Vegeta reached the power on par with him or exceeding a god of destruction, and Goku casually navigated a timeline that had been erased. There's also a funny moment where Goku believes that if he had a Senzu Bean, he would be able to beat Infinite Zamasu. But I'll leave that up to you guys to determine what you think about that. Base Goku during the Tournament of Power is far beyond the level he had shown during the Buu Saga. He easily handles Universe 9's trio until they begin working together, at which point the fight becomes more complex. Coordinated teamwork, as shown in the Goku Black arc, can create compound strength far above individual contributors. But even then, Goku and Vegeta, through Super Saiyan transformation, swiftly dismantle their strategy. One added difficulty for Goku is that he can't properly sense the ki of these unfamiliar fighters from the universes, which adds another layer of challenge. He's basically going in blind against several enemies at once. This of course is happening while Goku and Vegeta Super Saiyan Blue is in a heavily suppressed state, which we'll get into later into the video. Following Universe 9's erasure, we also get a clearer idea of Zeno's destructive capabilities. He can erase entire universes, and his reach extends beyond space and time, even into the Null Realm, where the tournament takes place. It's further evident that Zeno's power operates on a scale well beyond even what the gods themselves can manage. Meaning, not only can he erase everyone in the universe, but he also can erase the universe itself while being in the Null Realm. Similar to if you had mod in a video game and you're able to just Control-Alt-Delete whatever you want. In both versions of the story, the anime and the manga, Goku treats his opponents like puzzles, rarely opening with full power. This is seen again when Kale goes into a berserker state. In the manga, Goku doesn't actually do much against her, and Frieza in his golden form steps in instead. Some say Frieza's confidence was fake bravado, but it's left ambiguous. The anime, on the other hand, presents Kale bulldozing through Super Saiyan Goku like a raging storm. But even then, Goku comes out of the exchange virtually unscathed, and it's obvious that he wasn't going all out in his Super Saiyan Blue form, especially considering how he easily handles Kefla, her fused form, while in Super Saiyan Blue later. Now, if you believe Goku was serious in that fight with Kale, it implies that he had some incredible growth just from bruising the surface of Ultra Instinct Omen, a transformation that grants an enormous boost, possibly surpassing the jump from Super Saiyan 2 to 3. Given that Kefla, like most fusions in the series, is hyped with language that mirrors what's said about Gogeta or Vegito, dozens upon dozens of times stronger in their fusion, you could argue her fusion comes with a hefty multiplier. And yet, Jiren effortlessly eliminates Kale with a single hit, showing just how far beyond her he really is, despite her incredible showings against the others. In a particularly strategic team moment, Goku and Hit take on the Pride Troopers. The focus here is on Dispo, who proves fast enough to tag Hit repeatedly, despite Hit previously being stronger than Kaioken x 10 Goku during the 6 vs 7 match. Topo theorizes that Hit was actually allowing himself to be overwhelmed so that he could set up a trap using his phasing technique. Topo even deduces that Hit's power lets him phase between dimensions, a concept Goku himself hadn't quite grasped back during their first fight. Had it not been for a last-second save, Dispo would have been eliminated by this tactic. This implies that Hit, even while outpaced, was several steps ahead strategically. Hit's rapid adaptation becomes another point of interest. Vegeta himself notes that Hit improves rapidly mid-battle, much like a Saiyan. Topo then makes the implication that Dispo moves on a higher tier of speed that most mortals can't track him at all. And yet, Goku using his Super Saiyan God form, not Blue, is fast enough to intercept Dispa. He even uses this form over Blue because of its better stamina control. This also implies Goku might have got 50 times stronger since the second time that Goku and Hit fought, considering that they were both relatively even when Goku was in Blue and didn't use Kaioken. Now, in the Tournament of Power, him and Dispo seem to be relative in his God form. And since Super Saiyan Blue is 50 times that of Super Saiyan God, and God Goku and Hit seem relative here, it could apply a 50 times increase. The next huge display of power comes from Jiren in episodes 109 and 110. What makes this bout immediately jaw-dropping is the fact that Goku's Kamehameha launched at full intensity is nullified by Jiren's sheer aura presence alone. The blast doesn't even reach his body. This isn't a shield or technique, it's the natural energy radiating from Jiren's presence. Android 18 is the one who reacts to it though, so it's fair to question if her statement reflects the scope of what's fully happening. Progressing through the other forms, Super Saiyan Goku can actually land a blow, albeit without causing Jiren to flinch. Even as Super Saiyan 2, he only manages to move Jiren slightly without doing any real harm. At full force in his red-haired god form, Goku's strikes are battered away with a single finger. Despite those attacks under any other conditions carry potential to casually unravel macrocosmic structures and destroy universes. This scene is similar to how Goku was able to use one finger to deflect all of Trunks' attacks that were stronger than Mecha Frieza, which just goes to show you the difference in power between these two at this moment in time. Super Saiyan God Goku could be killed by Jiren with just one finger. However, things ramp up once Goku transitions into Blue and combines it with Kaioken. With that, he finally makes Jiren react, landing blows that send him through Kachin, the hardest material in Universe 7. Even so, Jiren retaliates with bursts of speed so sudden that only one who appears capable of tracking him is Android 17, leaving others like Vegeta and 18 unable to register what even happened. Notably, Jiren still hasn't revealed any visible increase in power. His aura is entirely dominant and he's still in his sealed state, so to speak. The Super Spirit Bomb that follows this moment becomes very pivotal as a benchmark. Goku suggests that it may accomplish what even his Kaioken times 20 Blue could not. Still though, Jiren is not impressed. Not only does he stop it, he pushes it back effortlessly, using nothing but his gaze. This is important since Goku was pushing it with all of his power, especially amplifying it beyond its maximum at that point, and it was still negated by a literal glare. After being consumed by the recoil of the Super Spirit Bomb, Goku awakens in the Ultra Instinct sign, and things escalate quickly. As Jiren finally unleashes his aura for the first time, the fight becomes so intense that not even seasoned observers can keep up. During this exchange, the old Supreme Kai makes a particularly striking observation. It's not just the battlefield trembling, but the entire world of Void is being shaken. Since the world of Void is described as being an infinite plane outside of the boundaries of space and time, the implication here is pretty staggering. A lot of skeptics may question how something infinite can be shaken, but the narrative clarifies that it's Goku's energy that is reverberating across the endless space. It isn't just affecting a spot, it's resonating outward into infinity. Given that beings like the Kaioshin can perceive entire macrocosms, it's not far-fetched to assume their commentary on the scale is credible. Even for those weary of interpreting infinite literally, the anime treats the world of Void as a hyperdimensional battle zone for gods, so the feat stands as top tier regardless. Having said that, the anime strongly leans into the idea that Jiren is on a plane of power above the gods of destruction. While the manga echoes this sentiment, it does so with less emphasis, but a later guidebook does double down on it, stating that Goku's completed Ultra Instinct might surpass even Beerus himself. Again though, this only applies to the anime continuity, and given how Dragon Ball loves to revise itself, it's hard to say that this will still be true when the next series returns. Now, one of the more fascinating discussions surrounding Zamasu is the fact that he merged not just physically, but with the very fabric of space and time. He integrated with reality itself, leading into alternate timelines. Some fans interpret this as a sign of higher dimensional existence, something only achievable by fusing with infinite and transcending conventional physicality. If you subscribe to this dimensional scaling, a being who operates beyond space-time theoretically would outclass any third-dimensional entity regardless of their power. And some have positioned Jiren reaching this kind of threshold as well. His power, as stated by Vados, is capable of transcending time altogether. Shin even remarks that time itself is meaningless to Jiren's strength. Whether this means that his sheer power ignores the rules of time or that he's simply too fast for time-based attacks to work on him is still up to interpretation. Regardless though, it's a bold claim and adds fuel to the debate of whether his feats count as higher dimensional or just absurdly high 3D stats. In episode 112, Goku is so drained that he struggles to even access Super Saiyan, which is interesting when you remember other times during the Dragon Ball Z anime where Goku was beaten and battered but still in Super Saiyan. His control over Super Saiyan was so refined at one point in time it became second nature, but even in his depleted state there's some subtle but profound thing happening. As Goku fights in base, he gradually regains his stamina and his body is used to burning through high energy and octane transformation, which now begins to recharge while moving in lower forms. It's an inverse of the usual dynamic and a rare glimpse at just how his training has evolved over time. Which brings us to episode 113, where Goku begins his clash with Caulifla. She powers up into Super Saiyan 2, and despite still being worn out, Goku holds his own in base form. This isn't just a matter of tactics or technique alone, he's clearly striking back with force and absorbing attacks that should be over 100 times that of what a base form Saiyan could endure, using the traditional multipliers. Caulifla herself is stronger than Kaba, who was on par with base Vegeta during the Universe 6 tournament. Super Saiyan 2 being 100 times boost puts Goku's performance into perspective. He's massively surpassed his own base level strength from earlier arcs. The idea that he's just outskilling her doesn't hold up when you see him exchange blows directly, tank her hits, and trade punches without relying on tricks or counters. Some suggest that Caulifla might have been holding back, but that theory doesn't hold up under closer scrutiny. If she were intentionally pulling back her punches, confusion about not landing hits wouldn't make any sense. Instead, her frustration implies she's going all in and still coming up short. Both of them steady ramp up during the fight, and Goku remarks at one point that he's starting to feel a massive surge of energy building up within him, hinting that even in his depleted state, his potential hasn't even peaked. And it pretty much has to, because the next challenge is now Kale. Now in her refined berserker state, this isn't the wild, uncontrollable rage monster from earlier. This is a focused, overwhelmingly powerful version of that form, officially referred to in some materials as simply a Super Saiyan. When Kale and Caulifla realize they're outmatched, they fuse into Kefla, and right away, Kefla is shocked at the depth of her newfound strength, describing it as limitless and rapidly growing. The Batara fusion is noted to amplify the individual's powers by dozens of times, far beyond simple addition. If you break it down using older scaling, like Super Saiyan 3 being a 400 times base, then for Kefla's form to be fighting evenly with Goku's God form, she'd need to have a multiplier even beyond that. This aligns with how the fusion is portrayed, not just an addition of strength, but a compounding amplification. It's even more impressive when you consider that Super Saiyan 3 Goku is able to detect an attack from Kefla that seems to combine the force of Kale and Caulifla's powers. There's another nuance in Batara fusion as well that often gets overlooked. According to one of these serious guides, the actual way that the multiplier works isn't static. It's described as the product of the two fighters' strengths, not a flat value. And if said formula is accurate, it means that the stronger the individual components, the more absurd the fusion becomes. It's no wonder that characters like Vegeta can become immediate threats to the highest tier of fighters in Dragon Ball Super. It's pretty crazy to think that even after Goku stacks Kaioken on top of Blue, he can't secure the win against Kefla and has to break into Ultra Instinct Omen. This kind of jump is pretty insane, especially considering Whis had said earlier that Kefla's energy output rivaled the same Super Spirit Bomb Goku had fell into. That Spirit Bomb wasn't just Kaioken times 20 blue energy, it had added mass of 2 blue level power sources colliding and condensing, plus Jiren's insane pressure helping compact it. If that energy was being matched or reflected in Kefla's blows, she essentially clocked Goku with something that might have been equal to 40 times Super Saiyan Blue tier strength or more. Even more mind-blowing, she upgrades further, triggering Super Saiyan 2. This means that by the time Omen Goku is holding his own against Kefla in Super Saiyan 2, she's tanking blows and trading hits with beings dozens upon stronger than what was condensed by the Super Spirit Bomb. Kefla's final rampage during that bout even escalates to where she could one-shot Goku if she landed a clean blow. He avoids this though due raw reaction speed and finesse alone, and eventually countering her with a devastating blast that removes her from the arena, and perhaps defuses her in the process as well. This isn't just a raw power feat, it's precision combat against someone potentially more powerful than Jiren at that moment, at least in attack potency. During their fight, Vados makes a point. Kefla's strength exceeds Goku's, but she doesn't have his finesse. He's more nimble, more instinctual, and that's what tips the scale. Jiren, still meditating, wakes up as Omen evolves during this brawl. The punches may have not damaged Kefla in any visible way, but the fact that they register at all in anime logic mean Goku has far outclassed his previous Omen state. Once that fight concludes, Goku crashes pretty hard. His stamina is completely drained, leaving him unable to access any of his transformations. There's also an odd encounter in episode 118, where Goku and the androids face off against Universe 2. Here, they're hit by an attack called the Pretty Black Hole, a heart-shaped, stylish energy technique described as having gravitational properties so intense that not even light can escape. It's clearly designed as a fictional black hole complete with over-the-top aesthetics. Goku, still in his base form and exhausted, manages to move inside the gravity well, although he can't teleport out using instant transmission. However, upon transforming into Super Saiyan Blue, despite his depleted state, he straight up resists the force entirely and disperses the attack. Whether this black hole should be treated with full real-world physics or not is debatable, but the intention is pretty clear. Goku casually broke free from a massive gravitational force akin to a true black hole while fatigued, and that's not a minor feat. When moving on to episode 121, there's the clash with Aniraza. As we finally enter the climax of the Tournament of Power, the last fighters representing Universe 7 stand ready to face off against Universe 11's final trio, Ispo, Toppo, and of course Jiren. When Goku engages with Jiren again, he demonstrates an advanced level of battle intelligence. He deploys a key trap to momentarily restrain Jiren and unleash a series of explosive discs in a clever attempt to wring him out. And it almost works. Jiren narrowly avoids disqualification by landing on a small chunk of debris. This segment also debunks the idea that destructo discs are untouchable. Goku continues pushing Jiren to a point that even the God of Destruction Belmod is shocked. Jiren retaliates with a level of force that knocks Goku straight out of Super Saiyan Blue. One of his punches, so violent and sudden, sends Goku into base form in an instant. Afterwards, Goku remarks that he's never taken a hit like that in his entire life.
In all my years, all my fights, I've never taken an attack like that.
This could refer to the punch that initially broke his form or the pummeling that followed after. If it's the latter, then Goku in his base form just tanks blows that eclipse anything he's ever felt, suggesting he experienced an insane, almost instantaneous spike in durability and toughness. As we arrive at episode 127, Jiren once again becomes the center of attention. His new surge in strength shocks even Goku, who admits he underestimated just how much Jiren had in reserve. This marks a new level for Jiren, clearly surpassing every opponent seen up until now. Vegeta soon takes a last stand against Jiren but fails, paving the way for Goku to ascend once more into Ultra Instinct Omen 3. The anime depiction shows this evolved Goku keeping pace with a Jiren who now boasts speed beyond time or described as being outside of dimensional limits, a level of swiftness not attributed to anyone else up until that point. It's in this state that Goku shows new mastery by transforming his mid-launch Kamehameha into a shield mid-battle. Prior to entering the completed Ultra Instinct form, Goku appears to summon what looks like a galaxy's worth of energy behind him. Although fans speculated that this may have generated a celestial body, closer inspection reveals it's more of a light show stretching beyond the tournament stage, not as enormous as initially seen. What follows this is a beatdown so elegant it rivals fusion tier choreography. The in-universe guidebook later confirms that this version of Goku is stronger than any version prior, which would include Vegeta Blue. This sentiment is reinforced when the guide suggests that even Beerus wonders if Goku might have surpassed him. All the gods of destruction rise in unison, acknowledging Goku's transformation. One guide even calls his white-haired Goku the strongest being in history at that point in the timeline, firmly cementing his dominance over all prior fusions and forms, even in the monstrous Zamasu form. But in the anime, things go a bit further. Goku's Ultra Instinct pushes Jiren into awakening another level of strength, one that puts him either at Goku's level or possibly even a notch above. This means that Jiren, who already was stronger than the average God of Destruction, becomes completely untouchable in raw power. Unfortunately, while Goku may outmatch Jiren in finesse, his new form takes an immense toll. And this is where we see the teamwork amplified strength concept that gets brought up later in the manga and the anime. That teamwork amplified strength concept gets brought up again in both the manga and the anime, and it becomes especially important in the final moments when Goku, 17, and Frieza band together to confront Jiren. Despite being in base form, Goku and Frieza managed to keep up with Android 17, whose ki blasts even connect cleanly with Jiren. Now previously, Android 17 was shown relative to Kaioken x 20 Blue Goku and Evolution Blue Vegeta, which is impressive in its own right, especially considering his infinite energy. A huge debate is whether this finale implies that base Goku is now near the same level he was using Kaioken Blue x 20 or if something else is happening. One theory is that Goku and Frieza's teamwork is multiplying their strength, allowing them to fight above their natural thresholds. There's also the argument that believes that Goku's base state at the end of the tournament might have retained some remnant of Ultra Instinct. Ultimately, while the mechanics are hazy, the overarching truth remains. The finale of the Tournament of Power is filled with unorthodox boosts, spiritual rebounds, and power scaling scenarios that challenge strategical logic. Whether you view it as teamwork, adrenaline, or pure narrative willpower, it works.